Just one big joke. It's a fucked up world. Here we are in. I ain't going nowhere.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Reason Reborn, episode 40. Here with my co-host, Cardiacsumo. How are you doing, sir?
Going good, man. What's up?
Like the Superman shirt.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like Superman. It's funny, I've always liked his t-shirts, but I can't stand him. It's so weird.
It's because you're a hater, man. It's the Man of Steel. It's the fucking, son of Krypton. Golden Boy. Face of DC.
Whatever. Okay.
I say that liking Batman better, but I've learned to appreciate Superman over
Batman is the face of DC. Superman is like just Superman. He's the face of MAGA, so that's why you shouldn't like Superman. That's what I'm gonna proclaim from now on. Superman is a MAGA supporter, and that's why you shouldn't like him. Stop liking Superman.
You see,
other than he's just a punk.
You're not gonna like it when they really do take up Superman for real, and then
they really are gonna fucking do that. Why? I know.
I would not put that shit out there. I'm sure they would love to do that.
He already has a red hat. No, he has to just put the S.
Trump will literally replace the American flag with the Superman
In fact,
symbol.
that's what the essence supporters are going to be with from now on anything. If you're a Trump supporter, it's going to have the Superman S in front. That's 2020 campaign. I'll go right there. So that's why you should like ban Superman. He's a horrible character.
This fucking guy.
And so it's the same thing with Shazam now after seeing that trailer. Good Lord, that trailer hurt me.
There's nothing that pleases you. You hate Shazam, hate Superman, hate Venom, like the top characters in all of comics.
Yeah, the Venom character, I mean, he's okay. I never saw the like overly huge like appeal. Like, why is he thought of so awesome? He was a decent villain. Then again, I've never been a big Spider-Man fan either. I know that's blasphemy as well. I'm just a hateful person, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I don't hate Spider-Man. I just never been a huge fan of Spider-Man. Sure. But at the same time,
you're not a hater. You just don't fucking like anything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a curmudgeon. I'm not a hater. It's the difference. Anyway, so I counted up the different things that I sent you over the week, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Lucky number 13 is the number of articles that I sent you. Now, there's a couple I didn't send you, including what I just spoke with you before the show, which was the Paul Manafort case has started, and his defense team's strategy is to pin all the blame on Robert Gates, who had already pleaded guilty of his goings on in the Russia investigation. So
it seems like a sound strategy.
That works out.
He pleaded guilty, right? So he is motherfucker's guilty by admission. Seems like a sound strategy. Pin it on the guy who says he did it. So
yeah, pin it on the guy who's probably going to show up as a key witness during your case and squeal on you. Good job. Good job.
Why does everybody have to go down? One person can't survive, you know? Everybody has to go down with this shit, man.
It ain't gonna be Paul Manafort, because that man is looking at prison for the rest of his natural life and his next natural life when he was reincarnated. And then that third reincarnation is gonna be spending pretty much the entire life in prison. So
yeah. I'm curious to see where it goes. Like you said, it's the first day, so
yeah.
People have been,
and I feel like it's gonna be a quick trial too.
Yeah, I'm sure people hope not. People have been like weirdly. It's like an anticipated movie. People have just been like looking forward to this guy's day in court, so to speak. Although he's being tried in like 2 different courts, but whatever.
Well, no, the reason why I say that is because of the judge and the circumstances. The judge don't like to play around. She's like, get to the point, make your, peace, and let's get this over with. Stop trying to avoid going to jail because you going, he going. And I think that's his biggest problem right now is that I don't think he has much of a chance, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. Maybe his Lord and Savior Trump will swoop down and save him.
Can he do that? I mean,
this will be the test. Will he use that pardon thing that he's just throwing out there?
Well, I guess a better question is, would he do that? Why would? I don't feel like he cares that much about Manafort.
Well, it would be smart for him not to do it. That's the thing. That's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to be throwing out there. Because I've thrown this out there to people before when we've had this conversation, is that once you pardon someone, they're no longer able to be prosecuted for that particular crime. Therefore, they no longer retain the right of the Fifth Amendment, which is they can't deny testimony because it's not like they can be criminally, incriminated by their testimony. So it's where you want to go, because now you've opened this guy up to having to sit and actually answer the goddamn questions.
I mean, but what they can't. I mean, he can't plead the Fifth per se, but what are they going to do to him if he doesn't answer?
Contempt of court. You go to jail.
Or if he lies, I guess. I don't know.
Perjury. You go to jail. That's what I'm saying. You're not held to the crime that you're discussing, but that doesn't make you criminally inept. You're not absolved of all charges. That's the thing that people don't seem to think. If I get pardoned for a crime, that doesn't mean that I can go out and shoot someone the next day and say pardon. It don't work that way. So yeah, he still could face criminal charges if he's taken to court and don't answer the goddamn questions, because he's now legally bound to answer the goddamn question due to his pardon.
Sure.
So yeah, the pardon thing, people think that it's one of those huge weapons in Trump's arsenal, but no, because if Trump somehow pardons himself of all of this, he can still be brought to court and have to he'll probably bury a lot of people who won't be happy with him, and the Russians won't be pleased. Honestly, that's what I would do to Trump if Trump ever pardoned himself. I'd still bring him in on charges, because I'd bring him in the court case involving people who I have not brought to trial yet, and make him squeal or go to jail for perjury or contempt of court. And then once he squeals, let's see what Vladimir Putin does to him then, because he'll be a lot more comfortable going to jail for the transgressions than he would be facing the retribution of Russia for disposing of him. I guarantee you.
Sure. But still day one. Let's see what happens here.
I know I've painted such a bleak picture, but it's the way of the world today. How you go? Also, John Kelly said he's not going nowhere.
Didn't he just say that Trump asked him to stay through?
Yeah.
Which la-di-da. Trump says a lot of shit and then says other shit 5 minutes later. So
he stays till 2020. So he was like, "Yep, I'm not going nowhere." Okay, cool.
I mean, if he said he's giving me $10 million, I wouldn't.
A lot of people have said I'm not going nowhere in that administration. Let's just remember that.
What happens when you have a temperamental baby who shifts his mind with the blowing of the wind? I'm sure he did say that to Kelly, but I'm not sure why Kelly thought it mattered that was said.
You know them. They need to say things publicly to make it look like everything's hunky-dory. Even though, you keep getting all these sources telling you that everything's not.
As though they have to tell us, as though we can't see with our eyeballs that things. But don't believe what you see, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So now we're getting to the 13.
Oh shit, was that not? Oh yeah, that wasn't.
No, that was not part of the 13. We started off with something we missed the last show about Trump administration's plans to help farmers hurt by global trade tensions, which is a very interesting story because it's something that these farmers don't want. They've been on record and have gone on TV and said that they're not happy with the fact that Trump wants to give them that 12.1 billion bailout. That being said, they talked to a lot of them, and during the interviews, of course, the question came up of who did you vote for, and of course, a lot of them said Trump. Oddly enough. And then when asked afterwards, well, would you still vote for him, knowing what you know? Most of them basically said, yeah, we would, which confuses me. Does this make sense of this for me, please?
I can't really make sense of having voted for him the first time. I can make even less sense of voting for him again, even though you don't seem to like what he did. So I wish you wouldn't have put such a Herculean task at my foot there.
Yeah, because their complaint is this feels like a bailout and they don't want to be bailed out. They just want to, be able to make money like they were. Okay, so it's a pride thing. All right, I got you. But why are you still holding loyalty to this guy? Like,
did they give a good reason? I vaguely remember those interviews and stuff, but I don't remember hearing anything.
Feel like they don't want the money because it feels like a bailout. They don't want the handout. They want to have things put back in place so they can have a strong business and make money for their families. And then the whole reasons why they were staying with Trump is that they just basically still believe in him, even though they don't agree with him on this.
He's making America great again. It is certainly worth noting that this global trade tension we're talking about did not spring out of thin air. So I think that's the weirdest thing about this, is that this bailout that they want to do is because of Trump's weird-ass trade policies. It isn't something that just sprung up out of nowhere and that Trump is coming in to save the day. It's this weird cycle with Trump where he'll cause a problem, at the very least pretend to fix it, if fix it at all, and then act like a savior for fixing self-caused problems.
Yeah, what I found weird was someone made a note that how part of the problem with this is that for this bill, 12.1 billion bailout, it's strongly likely that this money isn't coming necessarily from the United States, but from a loan from guess who?
Zimbabwe.
If only Zimbabwe had that power. No, the people who we actually are fighting in this trade war, China, who is the biggest lender in the world. So you're pretty much picking a fight with them and then asking them to help you out with this loan. That's just like having an argument with your parents and then immediately after asking if you can borrow the keys to the car or have $100 to go out tonight.
Especially if the argument was about money, which is what we're fighting with them over anyway. Because apparently they're fucking us in trade and stuff, which, take that as you will, I guess. I mean, they are an issue in some ways, but this is the dumbest way to deal with it. And this is ass backwards on many levels.
Yeah,
I am genuinely shocked, though. I was joking around about it, but I am shocked that those farmers would still say that they would vote for him when he put them in that situation and is now bailing them out, thereby shitting on their pride, as you alluded to, and endangering their ability to provide for themselves and their families. For no reason. There's no fucking reason to do this. These same people who were looking to him to help them, he shat on even worse.
Yeah. Yet he still commands their loyalty. So, man, I guess he knows who to pee on, so to speak. Get away with it.
I guess the scary thing is it's not just like party loyalty. It's not just, well, I'm going to stick with the Republicans because I'm a Republican. He has clearly developed his own cult of personality around himself in particular. That's why you see so many Republicans, or the few that are even that brave, hesitating to stand up to him because they know he can fuck them politically, because his supporters are loyal to him, not the Republican Party overall.
Yeah, it's a culture of like him rather than necessarily a political state. So quite interesting.
But good luck to those farmers. I guess I feel bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this turns out. It's not been that long into it, so maybe something will turn around soon. We can only hope. Before it causes true damage.
Trump will just stop doing this and then pretend that he saved the day. I ended the trade war.
Nice. All right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hopefully.
It's really depressing that I can actually see him just doing that. Just one day just stopping and being like, we won the trade war. It's all good.
Right. Even though we'll end up like paying out the ass for something.
And then a third of the country will be like, thank you, Trump.
And people like us pulling my hair out because we don't know what's going on.
Yep.
All right. So another weird thing that happened last week was President Trump's Hollywood Walk of Fame star was smashed to pieces in glorious fashion.
Somebody took a sledgehammer and went
the dude going. Yeah. That dude went ape shit with that thing. I meant to send you that video. It was really, really like ridiculous. He was just like wailing his ass off. And my thing is, who didn't see this?
They got that on video?
Yeah, they caught it on a video.
Because when I saw it, like I just saw a text description of it. I'm looking that up. That is phenomenal.
No, this guy like.
Yes, Trump's Hollywood star of fame got all kinds of smashed up. Which I don't support doing, obviously, because that is one, destruction of, public whatever. That's just not how you deal with stuff, man. You don't just like break shit. That's how a baby deals with stuff, right? Come on, man. We should be communicating with our intellects, not breaking shit up. That said,
we should.
A little funny, but I don't remember if Trump actually responded to the fact that happened. I mean, he tweets so much, so I don't know if he even said anything about it, but
I don't think he did.
Yeah, so that was a thing that was unfortunate. I think, especially when you do that stuff, it's not just that it's not the way you should deal with problems. But I think you guys need to understand that his base are the type of people that love to play victim. So when you see this, just gonna be like, see, we're being persecuted by the fucking elitists, the left, blah blah blah. You just add more fuel to their fire.
Now, what's funny is this is the second time it's been smashed. Apparently, before, like someone else smashed it. Well, this time the guy did it with a pickaxe. The first time the guy did it with a sledgehammer. So there's some dedication to fucking it shit up.
I mean, outside of what I just said, I do think that if people keep like going out of their way to destroy public property to protest you might want to do a bit of like introspection and see why the fuck people hate you so much. The same way when he goes to the UK and they're protesting the hell out of him.
Yeah,
at some point, you have to think it might be you, right? Like,
yeah, you really do. Because going over like this other article, I'm seeing how people have basically been defacing it constantly with stickers, graffiti, calling the president racist in the writing of the graffiti, spitting on it, stomping on it, just like right here, like somebody had a photo. They said it tagged. Oh gosh, I'm scared to look at this photo because I feel like the photo will make this even better. Yeah, well, needless to say, the comment was, "Hey Trump, my dog hates you." So I guess kind of you probably can kind of guess from that without looking at the photo what that person probably had his dog do to the star.
I was not aware of this history of defacement, but yeah. Again, you guys shouldn't do that. That's bad. But I would hope that eventually it would like trigger Trump to maybe think, why do people hate me so much? Possible, just possible it's you. That's just all I'm saying about it.
Yeah, like you keep saying it's the fake news, the fake news, the fake news. Oh wow, the person was told that they should shoot their dog because they're a moron because of it.
They should shoot their dog.
Yes. So that's a pretty rational response to this. What the fuck?
I mean, to be fair, having your dog shit on it wasn't the most mature thing to do either.
Oh, and to be fair, I don't see the picture because they won't show it. I can't say, but I have to imagine they did something demonstrative with their dog for people to want them to shoot their dog. What the fuck? Now I really need to see what exactly transpired because, goddamn, want them to shoot their damn dog, and it was a service dog, by the way. So they want them to shoot their service dog, their help. Good Lord.
Yep.
Always the most appropriate response to any situation. Just shoot it, which we'll get to later, I guess. Then, of course, the White House delayed the second meeting with Putin.
Yep. Which I would have thought they would have just said canceled, but delayed. I don't know why they're just not even why he is just so hell bent on doing this. Because I can't imagine anybody else wants to fucking do this. But he's just not taking
clearly
over.
His intelligence, his intelligence agencies don't want him to do it. Neither does his national security officer, who clearly showed his displeasure for that idea. But apparently people are still like trying to make this out to be like better than it is, because the statement that came from John Bolton, who's his national security advisor, he said the president believes that the next bilateral meeting with President Putin should take place after the Russia witch hunt is over. So we've agreed that it will be after the first of the year. So basically, the reason is we feel like the Russian investigations need to end before we can meet with Putin, which begs the question: why was it so okay for you to go to Russia while these investigations were going on, but now it's not okay for him to come here?
Because he got that huge backlash. But I think more my curiosity is, why are we assuming that the investigation will be over by the 1st?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like, what does he know that we don't know? It's coming down the pipe. So
maybe he's just like, at Christmas, I'm just gonna cancel it with my presidential powers, and then nobody will be able to talk about it because it's Christmas.
Yeah, clearly.
You can't tell me he wouldn't do some shit like that.
It would not surprise me. This one, I guess I could skip because it's not really a story. I just realized that it was a thing about the Fox News booking the wrong guest to talk about that, talk about something. Do you remember that video I sent you?
Yeah, it was a
They're
brilliant
meant
moment.
to, they're meant to book a pro ICE candidate and Kirkpatrick, but they ended up getting someone from another state entirely who was a liberal who just basically went the fuck off on ICE and the Conservative Party. So, yeah, that was embarrassing.
I think it's.
And then Fox is used to embarrassing themselves. So
I was about to say, like, their behavior generally is embarrassing to the idea of news.
yeah,
So, fuck it.
yeah. Then the national anthem crept back up again because the owner of the Dallas Cowboys decided to come out and say that he told his players that not only will they not kneel, but they're not allowed to stay in the locker room as per NFL guidelines that were given over the whole protest thing. So after that, he had a couple of players, and I don't think I sent you the article, but I sent it to some Cowboys fans of mine who were very, very distraught, of course. Basically, there's a few of their star players who are on board with this, African American players. In particular, their starting quarterback who said that he didn't feel like during the national anthem was the proper time. It's not the time or place to protest, and that he's a man of action, and that he doesn't think that this type of thing helps with anything. The man of action thing killed me because like, you're a man of action, but I've never heard you once speak out against anything or been spoke of having done anything. So that killed me. But the fact that he's like, there's no time and place, it's not the time or the place, kind of set off a huge backlash. Another star player, their running back, basically said that he agrees they shouldn't, they're not going to like protest the anthem and they never will because this is what we're a team and we need to stick together as a team and do what's best for the team. And then another player came out and said that, hey, it's above my pay grade.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Basically, he can't say what goes on because it's above his pay grade. It's for his bosses.
Oh, okay.
Decide.
It's not within my power, so screw it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was not familiar with this story. I feel like I saw somebody reference it, but since I'm not like a football guy or whatever sport this was,
yeah,
I was not aware of it.
Sports ball for you.
But I don't understand that man of action comment as though protesting is not itself an action. That's kind of a stupid thing to say. I'm a man of action. I don't believe in actions.
Yeah, it was very bizarre, like how he said that. And it's like, dude, you know how idiotic you sound. So they've been having some interesting pictures put up about them, to say the least. The funniest was 12 Years of Cowboys, where they basically made a meme out of everybody who answered.
I mean, you're certainly allowed to feel however the fuck you want. I guess it shouldn't really matter too much if you're black or not. But I just don't understand this weird religious fixation around the anthem and the flag. It's to me, it's anti-American. Like, stop. What is the word I'm looking for? Worshipping the flag and the anthem and all this shit as though they're religious artifacts. That's not what we do in America. If we wanted to do that type of stuff, we would have had a monarchy and we could all lick the king's feet as he walked by. There's a reason we don't do that type of shit. I'm not saying, go grab a flag and wipe your ass with it, but at some level, you have to ease up with this pseudo-religious level of worship you have for symbols of the country. That means the flag, the anthem, etc., etc.
Well, let's be 100% honest. It has nothing to do with the flag in itself anyway. It's generally just a disdain for anyone who has an issue with certain things that go on in America. By bringing these things to bear in such a public light, it's awkward for people who either don't have to deal with it or don't want to know that it goes on. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, to me, if it really didn't bother you, or if this was something that didn't pertain to me seeing these players kneel probably wouldn't make me that uncomfortable. You know, it's like, okay, they're doing this for them. That's fine. You would think ignore it. But this whole like weird blowback on it, it's just like, are you upset because you have to think about it now, or that you have to talk about it, or are you just, upset because you don't understand it? I don't understand the anger and the like. I just don't get it.
I don't know about those specific players, but the reason I talk about, this weird worship of those, items or symbols rather, is because the explicit argument I usually hear is, if you want to protest or whatever, but don't disrespect the flag or the anthem because that's disrespecting either the country or the troops. It's this conflation of many different issues based on those symbols. And I would say, if you take those symbols to represent the troops or whatever, fine. But one, you don't get to assign your interpretation of a symbol to everybody else. Two, it's just a symbol fucking anyway. So it doesn't really matter. And, to your point, even if you don't agree with what's being protested or you feel like it's disrespecting the flag, so what? It's America. You should be able to disrespect the flag. That's part of what makes this country great. Like, you shouldn't be punished for disrespecting the flag. It's a flag of a country that is supposed to be representative of freedom. I'm not saying like I would feel all warm and fuzzy.
I want you to go use the flag as toilet paper, people.
Of course, it's nice and smooth. I'm not saying like it makes me feel particularly good, but I feel like as an American, it matters more to me that you're actually exercising your rights to do that shit. Like a protest should seem like a very beautiful image. And protesting in the face of that stuff should feel like the most American shit ever. But instead we treat it like you just spat on the king as you walk by or something. This is, I don't know. I guess the great irony to me is that you guys keep saying that, it's anti-American to protest during this stuff. I don't feel like you guys understand what it is to be American. Maybe that's a mean thing to say, but it's really fucking stupid that you are giving into these weird authoritarian urges you guys are starting to develop and then calling them American.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I would think they would kind of be over this, especially since they made that deal where they said they would give money to charity if people would calm down and all that. It's like, it's still coming back because I guess it wouldn't come back if they wouldn't bring it up. That's the thing, because it wasn't an issue till the NFL came back with the rule saying they were going to fine and suspend players if they protested during the anthem. Like, that was it was quieting down a bit. People still had their angst about things, and people still had their issues with what was going on in America. But the national anthem thing was not the big talking point anymore. And now they made it back to that. And I just can't stress that enough. Like, you could have just been quiet and not said anything till something happened. But instead, you stuck your toe in the water and
I feel like what they should have done when this first started was actually say something quite forcefully and say, look, their players It's America. They could do what the fuck they want. This isn't an NFL issue. If you have a problem with them, take it up with them individually. Like, because they kept, first of all, people like Trump kept pouring gas on this flame every time it was convenient to them. But secondly, the NFL, as an organization, kept handling it stupidly because they're trying to appease whatever portion of their fans that they feel are upset by this. They should just be like, look, stop crying. It's not our problem. If you want to counter protest, do whatever the fuck you want. But this is not an NFL organization level issue. We're not going to address it any further. To me, the biggest problem was that they were spineless and they kept being tossed around by either Trump's wording, or Trump's attacks, I should say, or just public opinion. And now they're stuck in this weird cycle where they keep doing this back and forth, trying to address the issue. It's not a fucking issue. It's not worth addressing. Like, if I was heading this company somehow, I'd be like, no, this is beneath us as organization leadership. This is not something we should be talking about.
It's kind of like when the NBA players wore the hoodies for Trayvon Martin, and people were like, "Oh my God, these players are doing that," and the league was like, you know, they have the right to express themselves, and you know that's their opinions. Like, okay, and they just like left it at that. They didn't like go into the whole deep conversation. They didn't fucking take sides. They just like, hey, it's their right as citizens.
They didn't even have to take a side. It's not like I'm saying that they needed to back those players that were kneeling and like stand beside them. If they want to do that, fine. But you should have just kept your nose above this water. It wasn't worth diving in there and trying to swim around with everybody else. It's dumb. And it's weird that we've been talking about this stupid issue for like 2 years or however long it's been. 2 or 3 years. I can't remember anymore. But
no, it's been over 2 years now, I think. So
it's a stupid non-issue that we keep talking about over and over. Partially because the president keeps it in the news cycle because it, you know, ramps up his base and shit, but mostly because they as an organization just don't know how to fucking deal with this. They keep trying to implement stupid new policies, and it's like, this is not something worth even having a policy over.
no, it really isn't.
You have made an absolute non-issue to one of the biggest issues culturally. Awesome.
Yeah, good job. Like, you could have just let it be, like you said, you could have let it been on the players, and like the league could have been out of this, but the league is now in turmoil because of this stupidity. Y'all have helped foster this. And this is what you get.
Sure.
All right. So next up, a couple of congressmen have come up with, why is there like, there's a like gnat flying around that's bothering me, and I want to kill it. Oh my God. Anyway. I'm going to choke it to death if I catch it. Trump ally congressman introduced impeachment resolution against Deputy AG Rosenstein. Point blank, a couple of congressmen decided to get together and write up some legislation in which they can seek the impeachment of the Assistant Attorney General, who is famously known as being the guy to appoint Mueller. So,
I mean, they're never going to get that shit through, right? So,
no, because none of like, they're not a completely stupid party. That's the thing. They're not a party like composed of complete idiots. So no, it'll never happen.
So when I saw that, that was my first thought. It's like, you're never going to get that. This is stupid. But I guess my second thought was, a reoccurring thought I've been having as I watch their behaviors. Why are you so desperate to seemingly save Trump? Like, this group concerted effort to protect this one fucking guy who I think is worth far more trouble than, or is far more trouble than he's worth. Rather, like you guys are taking blatant, public, disgusting steps to back him in particular, and I just don't understand why, unless you just really actually like him. Because a lot of people assume that they're doing this for the political power that you have with Trump, but at some point it's like this is going to backfire on you guys, and you must know that. You have to know that. So this can't just be about political strategy because this is stupid, and you're going far more out of your way than I would have thought for just the moment's political benefit.
It's just why. What are you so scared of? I guess it's kind of what I've been saying is that clearly some of these people in Congress must be on this list because the all-out like barrage that's coming at like Rosenstein and Mueller in this whole investigation and this whole dismissal of things that the intelligence community have been trying to tell you since the election. It's ridiculous. I mean, you would think that after the news of last week or week before last, where they found out that there were certain state elections that were being manipulated, that they would be like, hold on, why are we so gung-ho in derailing this thing? There's clearly a systematic, push by foreign agencies to fuck with this country. And you at least want to ensure that the president is not involved in this. And the only way to do that is to investigate it, not to ignore it.
Sure. I don't know. It's behavior I can't personally explain. And as somebody who doesn't know the law very well, one thing that would be freaking me out is the possibility that I'm somehow walking into obstruction of justice with these weird attempts to try to fuck up this investigation. Weird, very public, obvious attempts to try to fuck up the investigation. I don't know what it takes to be to get in trouble for that, but I would be very concerned based on their behavior. If I was them, I'd be looking and thinking, how far can I walk with this before I end up walking into the land of obstruction here and getting myself in trouble for this guy for no apparent reason? Again, that's just a concern from somebody who doesn't really know that law or what it would take to get your hand smacked for that.
No, but it's a valid point. Like, how far are you willing to go before the microscope is turned on you? And they seem to don't have many limits at the moment. Maybe they're waiting for the microscope to be turned on them. I don't know. But
or like you said, maybe for some reason, somehow they have a dog in the fight. I mean, we've seen, it's not like Russia's efforts have been purely targeted on the Trump campaign and those people. They had that woman get in close with the NRA. Maybe their spying efforts here are just far better than we realize, and they just have a far deeper connection with the Republican Party than we're thinking they do. And some of these guys really do want to cover their own tracks or something. Maybe this isn't a stupid strategy on their part. They just know more than we know about their situation.
yeah, no, it's bewildering to me. Like, I don't get it. Like,
Batman will figure it out.
yeah, I guess that's the big problem for them is that Batman is just too good. But, I love the fact that Rosenstein is kind of just sitting there, by the way, just like, okay, whatever. Because at the end of the day, his damage is done. Like, he got the ball rolling. You could end his career, but you're not going to discredit him at all, because especially if this whole thing turns out to be exactly what people have said it was, it's going to be like, he's basically going to be like, who's laughing now? Even though he doesn't have a job. So, like,
I mean,
he's not going to go down historically as a villain.
No, he's weirdly going to go down as like this guy of impossible integrity.
Yeah.
Which weird. But I mean, if they really like if they manage to somehow get this through and impeach him, that's not going to be like hooray the end of it. That's going to cause a shitstorm if somehow they actually manage to do that. So even if they succeeded, it's not good.
Yeah, because publicly it's not a good look. It's like, wait, you just got rid of a guy because he wanted to investigate foreign, like, entities fucking with our government. What's going on here?
Yeah, that warrants investigation.
It's not even something that has to be fun. It is Rosa C's favor. That's the funny part about it. It's like it's not like they can claim like, oh, it's just liberal spin or it's like more fake news. No, it's not. It's blatant.
Yeah, it's confuses the fuck out of me. It does, like, you're not gonna get this, and if you did, it still wouldn't be good if you even got it anyway. So weird.
No, it's not a victory at all. But pursue it, I guess.
I think that's a can of worms you don't actually want to open.
Yeah. Some of these fools don't seem to understand that, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, another kind of non-story. Papa John's sues Papa John's. I still love that headline, by the way. Because, like, what?
That makes me want pizza.
And it's funny because they just showed a Papa John's commercial right before I got to this. Do you like Papa John's pizza, by the way?
I don't hate it.
I kind of hate it. And it has nothing to do with him. This is long before. Their sauce got too much sugar in it.
Actually, you know what? I was thinking of Domino's. I haven't had Papa John's in a long time.
Yeah, I could take Domino's. Domino's Pizza Hut, I can do them. But Papa John's, I just think that the sauce is too sweet. Maybe it's the bread, too, that's too sweet. I feel like it puts a lot of sugar in this shit.
So what is he suing them for? Because actually, I remember like laughing at that headline and then laughing so much I just forgot to read it.
So, okay. In a lawsuit filed in Delaware Chancery Court on Thursday, Shatner's lawyers say he is seeking to inspect company documents because of the unexplained and heavy-handed way in which the company has treated him since the publication of a story that falsely accused him of using a racial slur. Now, question, did he or did he not admit that he used that slur? In fact, looking at this article, it said Shatner admitted he said the N-word on a conference call. So how are they falsely accusing you of something you admit to?
I think you're not realizing that we are in a time and place where you can backtrack on shit you've admitted to, or even things that we have video evidence of you. Trump does it all the time, where we have like video evidence of him doing something. He'll admit to having done it, and then later be like, "No, I didn't. You a lie. What are you talking about? Fake news."
Okay, I didn't know this was that deep though. Okay, here it is. Shatner has admitted he said the N-word on a conference call with a marketing firm. Shatner claimed the firm asked if he was racist, and he used the N-word in describing how KFC's Colonel Sanders used to talk. Shatner has since said he also told the firm that he himself would never use wouldn't ever use that word. Sir. So let me get this straight. His defense is, I didn't say the N-word just to be saying it. I said it because I wanted to give an example of how someone else who was racist, not me, because I'm not racist, would have used it. How did that conversation go, I wonder?
Why would you be saying that? I still don't understand that. Even if I was to accept
like, why is that
argument,
your response to the question, are you a racist? Like, years ago, Colonel Sanders from KFC used to call people niggas all the time. I don't call people niggas. Because I don't call people niggas, I ain't racist. Because I would never use the word nigga. Like, Make that. That's so stupid.
Yeah, I don't understand the purpose of that argument. Because even if I was to just accept it, it still doesn't really make any. I don't know what it's supposed to get you. Like, what point is that supposed to make? That is supposed to absolve you of this situation.
Like, all you had to say is, no, I'm not a racist. If you need to make an example, then throw out the, like, you know, stereotypical I have black friends thing. If you, but why are you using the N-word to justify why you're not a racist? I don't get it.
I don't know. Like I said, I like Domino's anyway.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
I like random pizza places. They don't necessarily have to be like the big chain people.
I wish this were a quote unquote pizza place like Chicago or New York, where you can like where people are so dedicated to like making the best pizza. You can just go out and get like that local great pizza instead of, you know, I mean, because I like Domino's and I like Pizza Hut, but having been to Chicago, I know their pizza's better. I've had some of it. You know, it's just the fact. It's just something about it's like their care to be known as a pizza place helps, which I wish people cared around here because pizza's awesome.
And I wouldn't get the fuck off this conversation because I'm trying to watch what I eat. And
yeah, no, mind you, I'm talking about how pizza's awesome, and I haven't had a piece of pizza in over a year. Well, no, I take that back. I've had a slice of frozen pizza. So
I feel like the devil is
Pizza Hut or Domino's
whispering in my ear over here.
Yeah.
Eat broccoli, guys. All right, eat your veggies.
Yep.
Get some
In fact, I'm
fruits
gonna
in
have
you.
to go to the grocery store and get some because my fridge is going out, and I think I need to call my rental office to give me a new one. But anyway,
Drink plenty of water. You know,
Yep.
I'm just like all of a sudden I'm just gonna like no
so
more.
since I can't eat Domino's or Pizza Hut, you need to go to Domino's or Pizza Hut.
Who?
You?
That's not happening.
You have to let me live vicariously, sir.
I'm trying to pull myself back from the brink of some unhealthy eating habits over the last couple months. So that's
What's your
definitely
favorite
not
type of
happening.
pizza?
What?
What's your favorite type of pizza?
Hawaiian, bro. Of
Really, you like pineapple on pizza?
course.
You are such a weird person.
I should have put that on my list of unpopular opinions.
It's funny because it's not an unpopular opinion. It seems like everybody likes Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah,
So
I
guess
there's plenty of people who are offended by that.
yeah, something wrong with you. Anyway, all right. So moving down the list. So top Trump organization officials subpoenaed to testify in Michael Cohen probe. Basically, the head of the Trump organization has been called to testify during Michael Cohen's investigation, as he seems to have some very interesting information about Trump in those models.
Who?
His name is Alan Weisenberg. He's a top official. And
No, I mean, what models? What are we talking about?
the
the
Playboy
Playmate?
models. Yeah.
This guy has been putting his dick so many places. I can't keep up anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm sure he would have some information.
yeah, because the money probably came from the Trump organization. So yeah.
Well, see if he produces anything useful.
And then here we go where we get like really weird in the whole news cycle. So first Cohen starts to claim that Trump knew in advance of the meeting between his son and the Russian officials. By the way, he did say that he has over 100 tapes as well that he gave to the FBI. So
So what was that number 12 that we were hearing earlier?
Yeah, I know.
That
They
not
said
accurate?
12 tapes. Not at all. But yeah, so he claimed that Trump had knowledge and conversations with him of this meeting. Now, I'm assuming this is on tape as well. Because you got over 100 tapes. Maybe you had to have caught that.
We talked about the that first tape that got out last week, right?
Yeah,
it showed
his lawyer.
Cohen and Trump talking about payments to
Payments,
AMI, I think.
basically creating a company to pay off the Playboy model.
I thought it was to buy that story.
Well, yeah, that's what it was. Oh, that's what it was. It was to pay off the company who ran National Enquirer so they can get the story and basically suppress it. Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't the model payment, although I'm sure there's a tape for that too. Tape for everything. To be fair, though, there is not a tape about this. His knowledge of the meeting, apparently, looking back over the article. So
I brought that up because I don't know if we mentioned it last week, but there was something that bothered me about the way that story was going, because you had one side arguing. There was pretty much this argument around that first tape around, was Trump saying he wanted to pay with cash or check? And I just remember thinking, why the fuck are we arguing about this?
Yeah,
why does that matter? Isn't the point that he knew about it right before the election and seemed to approve? It seems like it's not a completely pointless argument, I guess, but it seems like an irrelevant one to the main question.
Yeah, because the whole argument had been he wasn't involved in any of this. He did not know any of this. He had no knowledge of women being paid off or companies being created or anything like that. That was his whole big argument at first. And now all of this has been walked down to, not only did you know, you were part of the discussion to do this. It wasn't like this guy just did it and say, hey, so I fixed it and this is how I fixed it. He went to you for approval.
Sure. I feel like I've just heard like 2 or 3 different interpretations of what the specific wording was implying in that video. And none of it, or in that tape, I should say, none of it was really important. It didn't really matter too much how you interpreted the uses of the words check and cash, who said what and who wanted what. The point is he knew and was approving it as he was going to be president. I don't know, just that news cycle has just pissed me off because they were talking about those wordings. Like even today, I saw a video where they were talking about. I'm like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, I don't care what he said. The fact that he was involved is the point. But
so now they're bringing in Alan. What's his face?
Yeah, Weisenberg, and he's gonna squeal, and more people are gonna squeal, and this is just gonna get worse. Because now you can't make that argument with this about the Russia thing. This has nothing to do with Russia. It somehow is walking into Russia. As Cohen is making the claim that Trump knew about the meeting. But at the same time, this whole thing with Cohen is just about his other transgressions as a businessman and the other illegal things that he's done in conjunction to the election. So, yeah. Interesting.
It's weird.
Which leads us to
all this stuff is connected.
You
would think Russians and playmates and porn star sex would just be completely unrelated, and yet they always seem to come back to each other somehow.
Yes, it's very weird. But again, this is a witch hunt, right? Whatever. Speaking of the witch hunt, clearly the witch hunt, or AKA collusion, ain't a crime.
What he said was, I don't even know if it's a crime, sir.
Are you sure that's what he meant?
You got me.
I don't know what the fuck he meant. when he said that.
I don't know what he means when he says words generally. So
first, Rudy Giuliani came and did a spectacularly weird interview in which he said many things, including that he didn't know if collusion was a crime, which blew my fucking mind because one, he's a fucking lawyer. Should you not know what collusion is criminally speaking? And to be fair, I'm going to say this. The term collusion is not a criminal term. What collusion is, however, is a basis for prosecuting a crime. Because if you colluded with, which is conspiring with, it's the conspiring of two or more parties to commit a criminal act. So when people say that you're colluding, they're saying you were working towards a crime, which can be prosecuted because if I find that, yes, you did conspire to a crime, then I'm going to prosecute you for said crime.
Sure. I mean, it's eerily just like the last thing I was saying, this weird focus on the wording collusion isn't a crime. Well, collusion is just shorthand. Stop trying to fuck around with English. Stop it. It's what was that woman's name? There was like last week or the week before, there was a woman who during something in the White House got banned, quote banned from asking questions for news agencies and stuff. You remember this story, right? I can't remember who it was. But she was asking stuff about COVID, I think, and they were like, no, you're done. And then the word getting used in the news was banned. And then the dude who, told her that was like, did I use the word banned? Like, what? The point is that she couldn't go. Stop arguing about specific word fucking uses. Are we 5 or something?
Yes, we are. We clearly are.
It's
a playground. It's not even like adult building anymore. It's a playground.
You saw it there. You're seeing it here. It's like if I said, hey, Black, I'm going to come to your house and like beat your face in with a rock and then run you over the car and throw you over a cliff. And then you went to the police and told them I threatened to kill you. And then my argument was I never used the word kill. I didn't say I was going to kill him.
Like, gee.
It's the dumbest fucking form of argument I've ever seen. And they've been using it more and more.
Yeah. And then Trump, of course, came back and said it himself as well. So he's an idiot for cooperating. Like, why are you going along with this type of defense? It is not a smart line of defense. I don't understand. How? Like,
I understand we got from there is no collusion to fuck it. It's not a crime anyway, right? We didn't do it, but
again, I must say this is a situation of them, such as with the NFL thing and the anthem thing, with them being the ones to amp this whole collusion thing up anyway, because let's be honest, the term shows up in the media, yes, but it's generally in connection to saying, they're seeing if there was any collusion with the Russians in order to sway the election towards Donald Trump, which in completion, when you say that whole statement, it's basically saying that they committed the act of collusion, which led to the crime of there being a fixed election. That's the whole onus on it. But every time you hear them talk about it, what you hear? There's no collusion, no collusion, no collusion. I don't know why you think there's collusion. There's no collusion. Shouldn't your focus be, no, why would we fix the election? That's ridiculous. Shouldn't the focus be on the crime, not the term collusion? Like, they somehow feel like if they can beat the term collusion, they beat any crime.
I want to defend the news for a second there, because I've certainly seen people go at them for using the term collusion and be like, I don't know where the term collusion came from. It's not a legal term, blah, blah, blah. So fucking what? Like, it's a word. Like, I don't understand what people's issue with languages. We have words that are synonymous with other things. We use shorthand terms. Do we need the news anyway, which is talking to lay people a lot of the time, to be using very specific legal jargon? They use a term that means what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like I was reading about RICO, and they were talking about the word collusion in this article I read about RICO, and they were saying like, yeah, it's not the official criminal term, of course, but when you do describe what a RICO case is, it involves the act of collusion, and so it becomes a commonly used term when you're speaking on the matter. Which is exactly what the use of collusion in the media is. It's just a commonly used term when you're talking about people conspiring.
Sure. Like I said, it's a dumb argument. It's just a stupid argument.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of it is because people never heard the word before and it angers them that, you know, this 3-syllable word is being pushed in their face.
I don't know.
Like, because why are you so irritated at the word?
But I just want to give my little defense out to the news. I don't think it's fair that people shit on them for not using particular legal jargon and explaining the entire thing every time and just using the word collusion. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear them explain it in full every fucking time they say it, because we have to talk about it a lot. So I don't care if you call it goldfish or poopa scoop, whatever. Then use a term that we can just use, because we're talking about this stupid thing every friggin' day. So I'd like to not have to go through the entire blah, blah, blah of explaining what this thing is every time. So yeah, English, it works a certain way. Stop crying about it.
I know. It's not how it goes. I guess. That's why we have this celebrated lawyer, you know, New York's mayor, or America's mayor as he once was known, out here twisting the word in his favor, I guess. I don't know. Could you explain to me what's wrong with Rudy Giuliani?
I mean, either he is actually insane, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. He just has such little integrity that he just doesn't care what comes out of his mouth.
Like, I just don't get it.
I love that line when he was being interviewed yesterday, the day before, whatever it was, and they were talking about this, and he was like, you know, the crime, when you break it down or whatever, and you look into the crime was hacking. The president didn't hack. He didn't pay the Russians for hacking, and he's just like kind of laughing it off. I'm like, is this guy a psycho? What is he talking about? First of all, you don't need to pay people to act on your bidding to collude with them. That's just stupid. And obviously nobody thought Trump was hacking anything. Like,
it even makes it worse because there was a point where they didn't acknowledge that there was any Russian involvement in the election. And now you're throwing out like, well, the crime was this. What's going, it just makes no sense.
Yes. Many self-contradicting things out there that they keep just spewing out of control.
And then you're throwing this like, okay, the crime is hacking. Explain exactly what the hacking was then. Or are you saying they're hacking?
Who cares? It was some 400-pound nerd in his bed.
I guess. I don't know.
Which is what the president has told us.
Yeah, I know. When he said that, I was like, you clearly have never like seen some of the hackers that actually get caught in this country. None of them to my recollection, have. I mean, you fucking like Julian Assange, who is a hacker. Does he look like a 400-pound nerd?
It's a it's a weird. It's just a stupid use of a stereotype by an old man, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I have friends who are in cybersecurity and like, well, first of all, a few of them are women, but some of them, none of them. There you go. I wasn't even thinking about it, but yes, but none of them fit this stereotype that you put out there at all.
Yeah.
It's odd that it even exists, but
yeah, it really is because they generally aren't these like shut-ins of society that people people like him, I should say, like to think they are.
Which makes me very uncomfortable that the president of the country, a country that is dealing with cyber issues right now, doesn't even have like very basic grasp of technology, I guess.
Yeah, or at least even if you don't understand technology, understand what the actual act that you're talking about. Like, don't just come out swinging on something and not have a basic understanding. It's like, yeah, I don't need you to be, 100% aware of what's going on and know every detail, but at least have enough to hold a real conversation about it, please.
I guess it's not just that he doesn't know, it's that his view of it seems purely based on, I don't know where he got the stereotype from, to be honest, some movies or TV shows or some
but
shit.
You can't say movies or TVs. I figured that's where you were going to go, but you can't say that because look at most of the hacking movies. The ones that had like Angelina Jolie, fucking Chris Hemsworth, Robert Redford. These aren't fucking shut-in like stereotypical 400-pound fat people. They're all like fucking beautiful people as hackers. But even Hollywood doesn't do that.
The best I can assume is that the stereotype came from like that stereotype of like PC gamers just like sitting at a computer and whatever. But yeah, I don't know where he's getting it from at all anyway. I'm just trying my best to interpret the mind of a madman.
You can't help this man at all in any instance. All right, so Jake Tapper basically put his foot in his mouth when he came out with some, I won't say disparaging, but he had something to say about Barack Obama and his wife Micheal partying.
I do too. They didn't invite me. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem. It's like, yo, I'm here. I'm fucking literally 10 minutes away from the stadium that they were partying at. Bruh, you can't. Come on. I was off that day too. You could.
Rude. That's what it is.
Exactly. That's their problem. They don't care about us because they didn't bring us to that party. That is what he should have said. And that's probably what he felt, and that's why he said that. But Jake Tapper basically came out and, in response to an article from the Huffington Post about the Obamas partying, he said the Democratic Party is the weakest it's been since the 1920s. But then he did shoulder shrug emoji or whatever. And in response to somebody who said, don't understand the point of this conversation, does Jake Tapper think Obama should be back in U.S. leading Democrats or blaming Barack Obama for leaving Democrats in an incredibly weak position or just making random observation? And then he said kind of a combo of 2 and 3, which means that he thinks that Obama left them in a weak position. And he goes on to actually say, glad he's enjoying life. He's entitled. Also, FYI, as we begin to focus on 2018 and 2020, he presided over a historically precipitous decline of his party. Just a factual matter. Some Dems seem angrier at my tweet than that fact. Okay, so let's go to this precipitous decline of the party. That's a fact that is apparently due to him being president. That his fault?
Yes. I don't know. But I mean, I guess when he said, that Barack presided over that decline, I didn't interpret that to mean that he caused it so much as he didn't do anything to stop it, which
Okay.
I don't think is his fault either. But or I mean, you and I were having this conversation. My thought was, yeah, he probably didn't make a great effort to strengthen that party or at least stop it from its decline or whatever. But I don't think.
Do we know this though for certain?
I don't know. It's not something I studied.
That's one of my questions. Of course, is do we know this for certain? One, and as you just said, is this his responsibility as president of the United States? When president of the United States, was that his responsibility? And 3 would be, is it his responsibility now as a retired president of the United States?
I don't even know what Obama sees his current role in life as now, because he seems to do stuff and give talks and blah blah blah, but I don't really know overall what he's trying to do. But I mean, yeah, I don't think a president should care that much about that stuff. I feel like once they're personally, this is my viewpoint, is that once they're president, that type of stuff should be not on their radar, not a concern for them. The parties have party leadership that should be dealing with that stuff outside of them. And even when Barack was, not president and part of the Democratic Party or whatever he was not part of party leadership. So he wasn't like, I mean, there's several different levels of party leadership, but he wasn't at any of those levels. So I don't know why he would have been responsible before or after, because he was not that guy in that party. He's not like Nancy Pelosi is now,
he's not like what Nancy Pelosi was when he was president. She was the fucking Speaker of the House. She was the fucking man. She controlled the party. If you want to be quite honest, you can never, ever put it on a president, especially a president who walks into a situation where his party controls both houses of Congress. The Speaker of the House and the what is Mitch McConnell's title? What do they call the Senate person?
Wow.
I forget what it's called. Like head turtle in charge. That's just Mitch McConnell at the moment. But those are the people who generally control how the votes are going to go in the office. The president basically sets mandates, and it's up to the party to come to terms and agree on them. They couldn't agree on shit. They couldn't stand with each other. They bickered. They fought. They got to a point where they lost the power and did nothing in his first term, significant. That wasn't done, to be quite honest, without Republican muscle. People like to talk about how ACA is this whole big Obama thing, but let's keep in mind that he needed the Republicans to get this passed, and they passed it. Because during the time when the Democrats were in control, they couldn't get moving on shit. So how are you going to blame him? Now, the only thing I would say would be quote unquote his fault is that you touched on it earlier. He was never a part of the leadership. He kind of was never really in the cards, probably, if you look back at it. Nobody probably expected him to skyrocket the way he did. But when he did, they rolled his coattails into their position, not really actually backing him. And that's probably the part of the problem. And that, again, doesn't go on him, because that's you riding someone's coattails who you don't believe in and that you're not going to support. So if you chose not to support him, can't blame him.
I mean, like I've said, I could see Tapper's argument if you start with the assumption that he should have been doing something about it. if you believe that assumption, then yes, he presided over their decline or whatever, and he didn't do much to stop it. But again, you have to make that starting assumption, to me at least, as far as I'm looking into this, you had to have made that starting assumption, even implicitly, before you could assign blame to him. You have to first believe that he should have been doing something about it. And maybe that's a fair assumption. I don't personally agree with that. I don't want a president that is so consumed with their party's power. I think Trump is like that right now, and it's a really gross look. So if you are a person that believes a president should do that type of stuff, fine. I will give you that Obama did not do anything to stop it. Whatever. I just personally don't think. I think we should take a step back and really ask: is that what we want a president to do?
And for me, no. I don't need the president to consolidate his party's base and to move them to a position where they can control everything, because that's the type of moves that you make when you want to create, like I said to you the other day, that's what you do when you want to create dynasties and you want to pretty much create like your own political state. It's no different than, waiting for the next, I forget what they used to call the next emperor to dispose the current one, like they used to do in Chinese dynasties. You want to keep it into the family, keep it all in the family until someone can come along from the other family and knock your family off. That's not how this should be. And yeah, I understand we're a two-party system, and a lot of our political ideals like go down the line of either conservatism or liberalism. I get that, but the main thing should be whether or not the best interest of the people. That should always, no matter what your political through line is, that should be the main concern. And that's why I find it weird how people have this distaste for Obama, because he actually was doing what a president should do, which is what a president should be, is do what's best for everybody, not just for his constituency. Because that's not what a president is supposed to be, not what they detailed when they created the office.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if you're going to start with the assumption that he should have done something, then I will grant you that you are correct, that he didn't do anything. I don't think it's an insult, because I don't think he should have been doing anything. I think when you watch how desperate Trump is to strengthen, if not the Republican base per se, at least the Republicans that support him, he's going out and doing these rallies, always shit-talking the Democrats, always, tweeting on the behalf of his underlings or whatever. It's gross, and you can tell he's doing it pretty much for his own sake, really, to solidify his own power. It's not good. So
yeah, the whole must vote in more Republicans mantra that he throws around when elections come around, it's just so disgusting.
And again, I know generally in life we have a tendency to look at the head honcho, the leader in charge, and anything that happens wrong underneath them is inherently their fault. I think that's a perspective issue, or a perspective error here, though, because you see him as the president, and therefore you're acting as though he is the leader of the Democratic Party because he was a Democrat and at the time the most powerful Democrat in the country. But that doesn't make him the Democratic leader. Those are not the same kind of role. I guess I can tell intuitively why you would think, well, if he's a Democrat and the president, then he's King Democrat, right? So obviously he should be doing that, but that's not really how they work. The parties are organizations unto themselves, and they have their own, however they want to handle their hierarchies. He's not leader of the Democrats because he's a Democrat and president. Not by default, at least.
Yeah, no, the government wasn't structured to be that way. I mean, that's why you have the separation of the three entities. That's at least In theory, that's why they separated all of those things. That's why they made the Justice Department a separate entity from Congress. That's why you have the Supreme Court, because the law is not to be messed with no matter what and be influenced by that stuff. But this exaggerated rush to now try to make all these things so fast. Like, we're having this whole discussion where we're fearing for our lives with the Supreme Court nominees now, and the way that things are going in Congress and all of that, and the behavior of Trump. It's the whole government structure is becoming something that it was never meant to be, and that our founding fathers never wanted it to be. And it's sad because people like to talk about the tradition of America and blah, 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 blah. Aren't we going against the tradition of America and what America is supposed to be by doing these things and by having these arguments where we're trying to put the responsibility of carrying a party to the promised land, like Jake Tapper did, or like he alluded to? Things like that, it bothers me. It bothers me a lot.
Yeah. Again, I think the assumption being made is implicit, so it's not like he explicitly argued for it, but I think if he was to sit down and really think about what he would have to be arguing to get to the argument he made, and think about them in explicit terms, I would like to think he would back off on that one.
Yeah.
Not that I wouldn't say he was attacking that dude in a very vile way. Like, I've definitely seen far more rage-filled things, but yeah, I would like to think that he wouldn't have made that argument if he was thinking more explicitly about the types of assumptions he's making as far as the role of the president. Because again, you can be the leader of the country and a member of a party, but that does not make you the leader of the party inherently. So if you want to place the blame on that, I would look to the actual leaders of the party, or just the party writ large. Like, looking at Obama, it's the type of thing I would expect you to do if you weren't like in this country. Like, you were just looking at our government from afar and you're like, well, he's King Democrat, right? Fuck him. Yeah. I wouldn't expect you to do that within the country.
But no, I made a point to in my rant that we didn't do this with previous presidents. Like, I can specifically remember when Bush won. Generally speaking, the onus went on the leaders of the Democratic Party, the people who were like the chairman and things like that. I remember like the arguments was how like they haven't brought the proper agenda. They didn't, go out and motivate the party the way that they should have. Of course, first time Bush won, it was more so people focus on, there was some strange things with the votes and the popular vote and things. That was the first time the popular vote and the electoral vote became a huge issue and all that. At least the first time in my lifetime, I should say. And then the second time, it kind of was more of a push of like, yeah, the leaders of the party are just horrible. They're not doing what they need to do. They need to reorganize and refocus and target people more better. Going back, to when Bush Sr. lost, it wasn't necessarily Bush. It was the Republican Party and their whole agenda of having him go with this family first thing. That was the wrong strategy to use for him, and it didn't pay off, especially with the deficit. And clearly, the Republican parties have lost touch with what It was never the president didn't do enough in his time to make sure this didn't happen. So it's like I find like a lot of it, and I think that's why a part of my rant was so rage filled, is that I just feel like there's an extra weight that's thrown on Obama when it comes to things that no one else seems to have gotten in my lifetime. Like, everything is ramped up to 10,000 with him. And it's just strange. Just like the outcry against people liking him, The outcry against people hating him is overboard. The outcry of what he should have done in this situation. Outcry of what he should be doing now with his life. It's just like, like I'll joke sometimes and say, God, I miss him. But honestly, God bless that man and his wife. Party your ass off at any concert you fucking want to. You had 8 years of bullshit and you put up with that gracefully and did the best job that you could do. You earned it. Fucking have fun with your family. I don't give a fuck if he's happy right now and not worried about us. Because we clearly are as worried about us as we should be. We're still way worried about him more than we should be.
Everybody just need to we need to calm down and accept that he's not coming back to save us.
I know. And then he pulled the stunt yesterday when he went to the bakery downtown. It's like, God, stop. I think that's one of his biggest problems too, is that he's so fucking lovable. He shouldn't be so fucking lovable.
True. I don't think Bush was like as liked as Obama. Trump certainly isn't. Clinton probably not as much at the end there after the whole touchy stuff. So
it's like this man.
He's probably like just the most liked one in a long time too.
Yeah, it's like, from a personal perspective, he's just such a good dude. That's the problem. It's like, at least with the others, you have personal issue. Like Bush was a drug abuser. Okay, that humanizes him, I guess, to people. Clinton was a slut. That humanizes him. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like that's his problem. It's like, even Trump, to a degree, part of his quote unquote charm with this basis that, yeah, he is a fuck up. But Obama has this air about him that he's just a good overall great guy. And people hate great guys. To be honest. Let's be honest.
Probably also doesn't
quote unquote Mr. Perfect.
Probably also doesn't help that he's like the last adult we remember being in charge.
And his wife is fine as fuck. God damn it. Son, I mean, like, he got everything. Got great kids, smart kids who are going to be like great professionals. His wife is fine as fuck. His wife is bad as fuck. His wife is like gorgeous. I can't get over the wife thing because
I was going to say you listed the wife like 3 different times in 3 different ways, as though it wasn't the same thing.
Because Micheal is just like, and it's not just that she's beautiful, but she's a great personality too. She's a great person. They're like, it's too much. Like they overloaded America with too much wholesomeness, and we couldn't really. As much as we like to talk about how wholesome and grand America is, we know America is just a dirty whore. Well, we don't like to be shown what it is to actually be what we think we are, though.
Sure, and I guess the point I was making there was, it makes it even more apparent when you look at Trump by contrast. It makes it far more striking. Like I generally thought Obama was a good speaker, right? But every once in a while, you'll see somebody put up like a clip of like Trump giving a speech and then Obama giving a speech, like the prayer breakfast thing. Like I watched Trump give one and then I watched Obama. And I was like, Jesus Christ, was he always that eloquent? Like, nah, can't be. It must just be because I just listened to like a 4-year-old talk. Like any adult would have sounded a lot better right after listening to a 4-year-old, blabber for 20 minutes. Like, just by contrast of what we have now, I feel like the good parts of Obama are just that much more accentuated in our memories, which probably doesn't help him in his favor because it makes us look back a little too lovingly toward this motherfucker.
Yeah, no, he is the ex-boyfriend that everybody's family keeps talking about in your face when you come to dinner.
Perfect analogy. Yes. It makes it even easier than usual to focus over on him, because again, he is the last time you remember an adult being the president. So.
Yeah, and it hasn't been that long. That's either. So that's what makes it even sadder. It feels like it has, but it hasn't. All right, I'm gonna skip over the last article because I want to save that for you. Because I feel like you probably will go off more than I will. I'm gonna laugh gleefully, to be quite honest. But
I'm not gonna say shit, man.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna make you say so. I just did it just to mess with you. But 3D printed guns have been approved by the government. Do you think this is wise?
I think it's strange that we would do this. I do remember that case very vaguely, where that dude had put schematics for that 3D printing stuff. So, for you guys who haven't used a 3D printer, I've actually used one a few times. You can download these files, and they're like instructions on how to print it for your machine. So you just kind of load them into the machine, and it prints based on those instructions. It's probably like a video, not tutorial, like a demonstration that shows it off better. But it's fairly easy to just download stuff off the internet and do that. I wish I had a couple of them around here somewhere. Like I have like a little Mario statue that I 3D printed. I used to have like this Iron Man ring that I had, a Mortal Kombat symbol. Like you just download them. Like there's different sites too. You can just download them, load them up, and then let the printer go. So it's really easy to do. I remember printing guns being a concern to people a few years ago. It might have been because of this particular case that's coming back up in the news where this guy put up the schematics for that, and they had to take it down because I think during the Obama administration they were like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing? Fuck that, stop." Legal stuff. But I guess it came back up and they decided on it, and they were like, "Yeah, you're good to go. So you can print guns come the 1st." I don't remember. Tomorrow, right?
The exact date, yeah, but tomorrow's the 1st. Including an AR-15, by the way. So let's shoot up a school.
I mean, it did bring up interesting questions about gun rights, I guess. And I believe the dude who was part of that original legal battle was making more an argument about freedom of speech, I guess, being able to put the schematics out there, having the right to do that. So it is a weird issue when you focus in on the rights people ought to have. I don't know. I don't know quite what to think about it. I feel like this is a very concerning technology. I know people don't like things being regulated, and we like our freedoms, and I do too. I definitely don't think like allowing the government to stop you from doing stuff should be your first instinct, but this is very concerning to me because we already have this problem in this country around wanting proper vetting for gun usage, wanting background checks, wanting to make sure that you have a proper psych evaluation, proper training. Even we already have issues with that stuff, and I was hopeful that maybe we were going to fix that stuff, but now you have this technology which would allow you to just print a gun at home. And in fairness, it's not like a gun is right now. It's not going to be as functional. You might not be able to fire off a single shot. It's made of plastic, right? So it's not that good.
If it's able to get enough velocity for a plastic bullet.
Does it fire plastic bullets? I just thought the gun itself. Either way.
I mean, if you're going to make guns, why not 3D print plastic bullets to go in the gun?
I don't know. To me, it doesn't matter because I feel like I am admitting that argument, because a lot of people are making that argument. It was like, well, the guns are shitty anyway. Yes. I mean, I've heard people say you can only get like a shot off with these guns or whatever before they break. To me, it's like, how many shots do you need to kill a person? Like,
yeah, no.
It seems like an odd argument that it's a shitty gun. Like, okay, it's a little less effective at killing people than a regular gun. Maybe that matters if you're trying to kill like a lot of people, but if you're trying to kill a person.
Well, see, here's the thing, because there's a reason for why. There's a couple of reasons that I can think of why this is bad. Now we already have guns that are made out of other materials like porcelain and things like that. These are things that can't be detected by metal detectors. Sure. So, unless you're the person who's randomly searched, You can now have a bunch of people walking onto airplanes with guns. Now, as you said, they may not be as effective as a regular gun, but if you can create a plastic gun that has just a little bit of lethality where I can kill someone and make my point, that's worth having. For people who you have this issue with terrorists, yeah, that's worth a sell within the United States to be like, cool, I'm gonna go get a 3D printer, I'm gonna get the materials I need, and I'm gonna craft this gun, and I'm gonna utilize it.
Sure.
Yeah. Again, you have blueprints already going up for things like AR-15. People are putting up like really lethal weapon instructions up there. And again, I understand it's not at the point where you can compare it to a real one. But as the technology grows, it's going to get to a point where people are going to figure out how to make it just as close to as serviceable as the real thing as possible. So it is still a threat out there because people aren't just going to stop with, hey, look, I got this thing that looks like a real gun. No, come on. Let's be honest. Which leads to my other point is the black market. Once this thing is like honed and crafted to a point where they're very serviceable, the black market for guns is just going to go through the fucking roof. Because you've bystepped every means that you needed before. Going to gun shows, finding somebody who's willing to risk their license to sell you weapons. You don't need the middlemen no more. You are the producer and the distributor.
Why do you need the black market if you could just print them at home?
Well, but though, because some people aren't going to be able to afford 3D printers. Let's be honest. 3D printers.
Yes, people make that. I've heard that argument, and it bothers me a little bit because, yes, any new piece of technology is expensive until it's not anymore.
Let me rephrase it. Some people aren't going to be able to afford it, but as we both know with technology, some people aren't going to be willing to adapt it either. Because let's be real, we're in a country where a small percentage of this whole populace utilize things like computers and the internet still.
Is that small?
Yeah. Huh?
Is that small that people utilize more advanced tech like cell phones and computers and shit? Among the older people probably, but
yeah, but you still have those people who don't take advantage of those things, or who will only take advantage of certain things, like cell phones. Cell phones are an agreeable thing, but for some people, there's still people out there who fucking have no use for a computer. I work with one. Sure. I've worked with a few who were like, I'm just not trying to use a computer. Some people younger than me, they have just no real interest in it beyond whether or not they have to use it. They're not going to go independently and do it themselves. So
true. Although I would assume if you wanted that gun bad enough to go on the black market, you would not take the risk of doing that so illegally when you could get it yourself. But yes, your point is valid that not everybody would be willing to adapt that technology.
Yeah, or to be smart enough to go that route even. People, so people don't want to make the effort. That's another thing. They're just not going to want to make the effort. Period. So,
my concern is that because I just remembered hearing that argument this morning that the cost of a 3D printer is prohibitive to most people. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure the cost of a fridge was prohibitive when it first came out. Same with a microwave. They are all expensive at first until more people own them and we find cheaper ways to make them. And I don't know specifically what type of 3D printers they're using, but they're not that fucking expensive.
I know.
Like a MakerBot printer.
I mean, we still live in a world where if I ask somebody, why don't you have a PlayStation? It costs too much. People will say they're not getting certain things as simple as TVs, consoles, and what have you, because they still think they cost too much. But they'll go out and buy a fucking $700 iPhone or iPhone these days every year.
Yeah, I don't know. It shocks me. It made it sound like these things are millions of dollars, and like they can get pretty pricey, but there are far cheaper ones, and I don't really know which ones you need to make that particular gun. But I just want people to get away with thinking that these things are like that unattainable to people, even now, and they're only going to get cheaper. So
at the same time, you're encouraging them to make guns by going and getting like 3D. I see what you're doing. You're doing the NARA's work.
I just think that their arguments are not good. Like, it costs too much to have a 3D printer. The guns will be low quality.
Yeah, like for me, it's not an argument, but I know the arguments that people are going to make. I guess that's what I'm saying. I know what's going to be.
I guess what I'm being offended more by is this ignoring how technology works generally. Like, yeah, right now the guns are shit that cost too much. Really? Like, that cannot be your defense if you've been paying any attention during your lifetime and looked at how quickly everything else has gotten cheaper.
Or gotten better at that.
Yeah, it gotten better. Like, it improves and it becomes cheaper because we find better ways to make it and cheaper ways to make it. That's how all the technology has gone.
Yeah.
So this.
But I mean, you know who's happy about this, of course? Dana
Nuts. Who?
Well, the same, one and the same. Dana Loesch. You know, the talking head for the NRA. Mm-hmm. As she did a segment about Chuck Schumer freaking out over the prospect of criminals printing assault-style weapons. Where there were, what did she say? Where there were laws that prohibited possessors from doing so. Again, there's already a gun black market. Clearly, there aren't laws there are laws that prohibit them, but they still do it. The argument that because we have laws that will stop them, or like laws that tell them no, is why they won't do it. It's asinine.
I'm slightly confused as to why the NRA is backing this. Like, I would assume they care about making money for themselves. It's not obvious to me, I guess, why this is beneficial to them. It seems like it would be harmful as the technology got better, that you don't have to pay for guns anymore.
Yeah, you don't have to go to gun shops and get and stuff like that. You don't have to go through them. Although I guess they figure it helps them because it puts more guns in the hands of their constituency and keeps them supporting them, I guess. If they get behind this, it's like she will continue to fund you by donating and getting memberships because you're protecting my right to do this stuff. Because she said, I'm actually talking about what Democrats called, quote unquote, ghost guns and the what, that don't even make sense. And what the rest of us call freedom and innovation, 3D printed guns. So clearly that's the NRA's stance on it.
The rest of us
yeah,
freedom and innovation. These are some childish fucking arguments here. I mean, and it is something that generally concerns me about technology. So I look at the law and I'm just like, I don't feel like you guys have been paying enough attention and trying to figure this stuff out. Because even this particular case that we're talking about, it goes back to like 2013 or something. Like, it didn't just happen yesterday and now we have to deal with it right now. It's been an issue for years and longer because 3D printed technology.
You have it fly or something. I saw that. The hell is attacking you?
Bastard. It probably came from your place.
Yeah, I probably did.
But yeah, like you see these technologies that are not new. They're around because obviously they have to advance up to a certain point. So you know they are there and you're just not doing quite enough to deal with that. Because when you originally brought this up, I'm like, I don't quite know exactly what we should do because it's kind of a hard problem. There is a balance between freedom and civil rights and all that stuff and not having a society where everybody's shooting each other because they can put a gun in their fucking magic microwave. Like, I don't know what the answer to this situation is, but it's not a new problem. So it feels like the people smarter than me should have figured it out by now.
Yeah. This just goes to part of the problem with our government and why I still advocate that we need to have shorter terms for congressional seats, because clearly the people who we have now weren't forward thinking enough to address this issue. Whereas I'm sure, someone more adept to technology and the way technology works probably would have started the conversation back when it came up and had figured out by the time it got to this point.
I'll admit that it kind of fell to the back of my mind, but I remember when I heard it, several years ago. It was a very alarming concept to me back then, and I was like, hopefully somebody awesome, because I was probably still in school back then, so I was like, hopefully somebody figures that shit out. That's kind of scary. But yeah, it's not just that they're not forward thinking. It's just sometimes the issue is that they look at technology in its current state, and then they're like, well, it's not a problem right now. We'll figure it out later, as though technology isn't going to advance at a rapid basis. That's why, sometimes you hear me make these jokes about like sex robots and blah, 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 and these weird scenarios. And I'm somewhat joking, but I'm also kind of making the point that you need to stop acting like it's not a problem, because it's not a problem right now. It would be better to figure this stuff out. Fuck you. It would be better.
What? They're awesome.
You have a problem. Okay, with technology, I guess, because I'm kind of aware that the government moves a bit slower, as it probably should, I guess, in some cases. I would like us to be able to solve these issues around technology before the technology is there. Significantly before. So when I talk about, stuff with AI or self-driving cars, and whatever else, I would like us to have kind of figured out at least roughly what our stance is on that before all of a sudden we have to deal with it like right now, where people can just download it on their computers and and then we're caught with our pants down and we're getting butt fucked, right? Like it's not a good look.
Yeah, it goes back to the whole thing where we were talking about how they have this problem with technology on the floor of Congress and things like that. It's like this weird, wanting to ignore the technology exists and has its uses, and that has to be addressed in society is like totally weird to me. It's like until it becomes an issue, until it becomes something that they have to deal with, they don't deal with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that bothers me, because by the time it happens, it's too late to deal with it. Like self-driving cars, what are you going to do when companies are just ready to use that? You should have figured it out by now. Because once that switch is flipped and the technology is good enough and everybody wants to use it and stuff, it's a little too late to put that genie back in the bottle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out now that this is a thing. It's always an issue of where the action happens once something horrible happens. So once somebody figures out how to produce a proper enough gun and does what I said before, jokingly, and shoot up a school with one of these things, or just kill someone, period, it's just going to sit there.
Yeah, we'll either do nothing, or because it's reactionary, it will probably be a stupid decision. Or at least a stupider one than it would have been if you'd been forward thinking about it and dealt with it early. I use the self-driving car thing as an example. It's probably not a good example, because at worst, you could be like, this is too much, and you could actually just make a law to not have self-driving cars. I don't see how you would stop 3D printed guns, because what are you supposed to do? Once the files are out on the internet, they're on the internet. They can be acquired. Yeah. And once you have one, even beyond that, if you have the skills to make the SCAD files, you could just make it yourself at home. You could make the blueprint for the 3D printed gun and then just print it and share it if you want. So it's not like stopping this one dude who put that thing out there was going to work anyway. Somebody else could have just made that and then put it back out there. He didn't have some magical powers. He just knew more in that realm than the average person did.
Yeah. And now here we are. We'll see. Now on to your favorite story, because Jeff Sessions is everybody's favorite. Keebler Elf strikes again.
Man, I want some crackers.
Yeah, well, I was gonna make a weird racial joke off of that, but I'm not gonna go there because that was just a layup. I'm gonna leave it alone, and I'm gonna be sensitive, unlike some people do, like our president. I mean,
I thought we were talking about me. I was like,
no, like president. But so Jeff Sessions, Attorney General. What is he doing with himself these days? He's announcing a religious liberty task force. And I want you to go and listen to him talk in that video about this. You gonna do it?
Do I have to?
Yes, you do.
I don't really want to, like, because I feel like that's some sort of weird punishment. Like, are you angry at me? Did I do something wrong to you? Oh, did you give me the link there?
Yeah.
All right. So I swear I had this thing open already somewhere, and I couldn't find it again. I read it, but I didn't like watch the
Probably
video.
just left it sitting there because you didn't want to hear it. You wanted to ignore it. It's fake news. But as he looks, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced Monday that the Department of Justice is creating a religious liberty task force. Sessions said the task force, co-chaired by Associate Attorney General Jesse Panuccio and the Assistant Attorney General for the Justice Department's Office of Legal Policy, Beth Williams, will help the department fully implement the religious liberty guidance it issued last year. All right. Sessions said on Monday that the task force will ensure all Justice Department components are upholding the guidance in the cases they bring and defend, the arguments they make in court, the policies and regulations they adopt, and how we conduct our operations. Now, what that has to do with the religious part, I have no idea, but he goes on to say, we've seen nuns ordered to buy contraceptives. We've seen U.S. senators ask judicial and executive branch nominees about dogma, even though the Constitution explicitly forbids a religious test for public office. We've all seen the ordeal faced so bravely by Jack Phillips, he said, referring to the Colorado baker who took his case to the Supreme Court after he was found to have violated the state's anti-discrimination law for refusing to make a cake. In short, we have not only the freedom to worship, but the right to exercise our faith. The Constitution's protections don't end at the parish parking lot, nor can our freedoms be confined to our basements, he said, according to his prepared remarks. Religious Americans are no longer an afterthought, he said.
Well, good for them. I'm so happy for religious Americans. Was that the end of it? I watched his little talk there.
Yep, that was the end of his statements.
So much there. I love that block where he was talking about, you know, the ordeals they've gone through. Nuns ordered to buy contraceptives. That stupid cake issue, which, as I recall, that dude fucking won. So I don't know what he's crying about. Like, he didn't have to make the cake, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of that decision. So he really won that case. I don't know what the problem is.
I think he had to go through it.
it was kind of a complicated issue. I think it was worth going through. And personally, I'm not even really that bothered by the decision that was made. So, Religious Liberty Task Force. I don't understand why religious people in this country always feel like they are under attack. It is the oddest thing to me because they have the majority of the country and the most power. I mean, there's a reason we're always having these stupid arguments about abortion, like Roe v. Wade right now, right? There's a reason we talk about stuff like that. There's a reason this dude didn't have to make that cake. They have plenty of power and sway, and a lot of the dumb shit we talk about is based in religion. So this notion that they're having their rights shit on seems to me just incorrect. The rest of us are kind of like trying to fight back against them forcing their religious values on the rest of society. That's about it. Like, nobody is really trying to take their Bibles away and throw them in the trash or scratch their ass with a cross. I just don't understand the sense of persecution they always acquire when they want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, it's like all up and down in our leadership, in a lot of our morality, all that. It's Christian based. It's around like Christianity, and that's the thing that I think is more important, that people should realize what this is about. Not necessarily an attack on religion. It's an attack on Christianity that they're trying to protect. Because in none of his examples did he mention anything non-Christian. He never said that we need to protect Muslims for having the right to, practice the way that they want. He said religious Americans, which can be Muslims, which can be Jewish people,
except they can't.
Could be Buddhists, whatever.
No, they can't.
Clearly, like, everything that he mentioned is driven towards Christianity, and that's a problem. It's you cannot honestly do this under the guise of being a protective religious agency if you aren't protecting all religions, firsthand. Two, he even stated himself, yes, there's constitutional protections for religion already. So no, there is no stopping religion in this country at all. So where is the pushback? Because they want nuns to buy contraceptives? How is that anti-religious? You have horrible stories of these nuns getting pregnant when they're not supposed to, and taking the babies and aborting them, and then like hiding dead fetuses under churches. Like, you have that horrible, image of Christianity already out there. So them buying condoms is worse, and not getting pregnant, that's worse.
I didn't really get what that was supposed to be referring to, that nuns ordered to buy contraceptives.
And that's the thing. That's the only thing I can connect it to, because it's not like we have this perception. It's always been, that whole thing had came out and was exposed, but it's never been a driving topic of conversation that nuns are constantly getting pregnant in this country. I didn't even know that there was, if there is such a thing. I don't even know if there's such a thing, because I've never heard of the concept of nuns having to buy contraceptives. Have you?
No. I was hoping you could explain to me what that was.
Yeah, so if it's such a big ordeal, like a travesty, why isn't this something that's not prevalent in the, conscious of the of society? Because I don't even, until I've started talking about this, even that whole thing about the old school stories of nuns putting babies under churches never crossed my mind. It's not like people are, and this is the thing that bothers me about super religious people. It's like this whole concept that we are going out of our way to beat on them It's ridiculous. Nobody's going out of their way to beat on them. We beat on people who say things and then do the other, like who come out and say, well, God says do this, and then do the opposite of what they're telling you that God says. Yeah, you're going to get beat on because you're contradicting yourself. So you should be beat on, but it's just not like, a daily, we have to have something in the news cycle or just in our general conversation of life that we got to bash Christianity. It's not like that. And I don't understand the need for this shit. Like, and it's funny because I feel like I'm talking way more than I should be. I feel like this should be like you making this argument more so.
Probably. I'm sorry. I was just trying to figure out what that nun shit was referring to. It kind of bothered me because I'm like, I just don't get what he means.
If you can find it, please do, because I would love to know.
I saw some random thing from the Hill that said something like, it was from 2015, said nuns forced to comply with Obamacare birth control mandate. I didn't see enough detail in it for my taste to know what it was really going at, but I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about, so I can't comment too heavily on that nun shit. Felt kind of random to me, but yeah.
Okay, so can you explain the dogma part? Because last I checked, it's kind of a tradition, at least for every nominee to be asked that. So why is this bothersome now? I mean, I don't think that they should be asked about their faith either. Same time, this wasn't bothering you until now.
I absolutely don't agree with that. I think it's fine to ask them that. I don't think it is impinging upon your religious
okay, I would say that. Yeah, I don't think it's dependent on their rights either. I mean, I don't think it should be done because I don't think it's pertinent to usually what they're asking them to do. Like you're asking a judge, but at the same time, I have no problem with it. So I'm trying to figure out how for these decades of governing, it hasn't been a problem. Why is this a problem for him now? Especially when it's not like it's a party exclusive thing.
So I would say that the religious question, like you shouldn't be inherently disqualified for your religion, I guess. Although even this idea of, we should not have a religious test, I feel like that's being misused. I'm pretty sure the point of that was that you did not have to be of a specific religion in order to be elected, I guess is specifically the point. Like, I feel like that's being a bit misused here, but I feel like it's fine to ask that type of question about dogma because it matters as to how you're going to govern. If you have certain stances on, I don't know, abortion, this, that, or the other thing, it matters. If you believe that we're all going to get raptured up tomorrow, I'd like to know that shit because it might affect some of your decision making if you think we're all going to die tomorrow and go to heaven or whatever's going to happen, or Jesus is coming back. Like, I don't know. I don't quite get this feeling people have that you cannot be asked about your religion or even judged on it. It's not like the color of your skin. You're choosing to be of a particular religion and believe certain shit, and the shit you believe matters because it affects your actions and what you will do. So I don't see it as this horrible attack to ask you about your dogmas. I think we probably should ask you because it matters for the country.
Yeah, and I feel like he's framing it more to like it's a horrible act. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me if you ask or not. I don't care what your religion is. I just need to know how good you are at your job. So it's a non-important question to me. That being said, yeah, I agree. I don't have an issue with it being asked.
I care to the extent that I think it will affect your job, I guess.
Yeah, and I could make a really good point about that.
Yeah, with the abortion. It's not like just Christian. Like if you just said you were Christian, I wouldn't be like, get out. Like I would be like, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean like, you're using the Bible and it's like good in your life and shit? Or do you mean like you're gonna go beat pregnant teen moms with the Bible and like stab them with a cross? Like what exactly do you mean here? And how is it going to affect your decision making? Because it can affect your decision making. And again, a lot of the social debates we have in this country, we have because of religion. The debate around abortion, the debate around gay marriage, like some of the biggest, most painful things we have to deal with in this country are because of that. So I think it matters.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
I'm sure gay people, for example, would very much like to know what a person's religious stance is on them being allowed to love each other.
Yeah.
Are you going to try to throw us in prison or something?
That's true. Yeah. But it's like the foolishness of creating this. Like, I just don't understand where this whole religious Americans are an afterthought idea come from.
I'm still mad about that fucking same-sex cake thing. Because again, that dude won, right? Like, I'm just trying to see if I'm crazy. That dude, the Supreme Court decision was that he did not have to make that fucking cake. So, what is the problem?
Yeah, because he said that it wasn't a direct statement, but they basically quoted him as saying that part of this is because the government shouldn't impugn people's motives or beliefs. Again, I ask you, what, like, the only thing I could think of that quote unquote impugns, and it's not even an impugning of motives or beliefs, is like doing the Pledge of Allegiance in school. Like, they ask you not to do that because, you know, not everybody believes in God, or they shouldn't, or if you're going to do it, you shouldn't make all kids stand, because if they're not Christian, then certain things in that don't pertain to them. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Like, I seriously, I'm pulling very hard here, I think, because I cannot think of any instances where we just say no. Do not bring religion. Like, do I think religion shouldn't dictate certain parts of law? Sure. But it's never been a full disclose. You can't, like, quote religion or speak on religion. Like, they do it all the time. Even with separation of church and state, they still do it. So I don't know. I seriously don't know. Like, is he trying to get it so we can make laws that say because God says so, this is why it should be a law? So I'm really confused as to what the need of a task force, especially for the Justice Department, to bring a task force.
I mean, I feel like you should have to establish a fair amount of victimization of the religious communities before you do something like this. And I just don't see any. Because, again, back to your point, we're not really, I say we, you know, Satanists like me, we're not really making them do fucking anything. So I don't know why they, it's not like unique to Sessions. I see it all the time. They're always acting so persecuted. Everybody's always trying to take their faith from them. Nobody gives a fuck about your faith, man. Like, at best, or at worst, I guess, depending on your outlook, a person might try to convince you out of your faith, the same way they might try to convince you that a musician is really good, or you should try this piece of food. Like, I feel like people should be allowed to have a conversation with you about your faith, but I don't know. Maybe a religious person can explain to me why this task force is needed. Do you feel that persecuted? I don't know. I really wish I could figure out this fucking nut shit.
Yeah, no. Because I don't see people stopping people from going door to door to ask you to talk to them about religious faith. You know, Jehovah's Witness and Mormons and all of them still are able to do that. There's no push to shut down churches or to limit the number of churches that can be opened in a certain area or anything like that. So being able to preach about faith
Now, in
is
fairness,
at risk.
sinners like me would probably like churches to stop being tax exempt, but I don't feel like that's an attack. I feel like you should be tax exempt to the extent that you are a charity, not a church. To the extent that you do charitable acts, you should be tax exempt for the charitableness, not the God stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's just one of those old things that's still established. And that's why you have some questionable people who become preachers out there, sadly.
Yeah, anybody listening, man, please explain this dumb shit to me. Like, it's gonna fucking bother me.
Yeah, it's bothered me too because I'm trying to figure out seriously, like,
what is he talking about?
Yeah, really, it was a weird. When I first saw that, it just stood out the most to me out of all of it because it's like just a weird thing. Like they're making nuns get condoms. So are you telling nuns to go have sex? Is that what you're trying to say they're doing?
Like this article here is the only thing I noticed that kind of stuck out, but I don't even know what that's talking about. So, any of you guys that have like more knowledge than me and knew what he was referring to, I would deeply appreciate you. Oh, even stuff like that. Like, again, I don't know specifically what that is, but
are you serious? That's just it. So basically, I mean, I know this ain't it, but this whole article is just saying that their insurance should cover birth control. Okay.
Whose insurance? That organization? Wait, do they have insurance? Hold up.
I assume that's what it is because that's all it basically is. But when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's the mandate." Yeah, because one of the mandates under Obamacare is that birth control is under insurance, and that's one of the things that people don't like.
I guess maybe I didn't understand it.
Yeah, because I remember that was a touchy-feely subject among conservatives during the whole Obamacare debate. Was like, what you want to tell people to? You want to putting it was the whole should we have abortions and stuff under this and all of that, and like they felt like birth control was just one step closer to getting abortions put into like Obamacare and all. That's why they don't like Planned for all of that. It's a roundabout jab to Obamacare. That's basically it. Because Obamacare makes us sinners by giving us contraceptives.
So I think what I missed when I was looking at that article I sent you was the idea that this religious organization had insurance. Like, it just wouldn't occur to me that they would have that. But sure, I guess that makes sense. If they have insurance, then yes, they are subject to Obamacare.
But the thing is, it says that under the contraception mandate, nonprofit religious groups such as Little Sisters of the Poor are permitted to opt out of the requirement if they report their concerns to their insurance companies or federal government. But that group and others have objected to any extra steps to obtain the exemption. Basically, what it is they don't want to go to the government and say, no, we don't want to do this. It's stupid. They gave you the option to say no. Just fucking write the letter or whatever you have to do. They don't want to fill out they didn't want to fill out additional paperwork to say no. We don't want to give people contraception. That's some dumb shit.
So
that makes it even dumber.
I think part of the issue here, the bigger issue, is that these religious organizations are subject to our fucking laws because they're not just like groups of people who believe in God. You know, they have to do paperwork. Some of them nonprofits like this. That's why they get tax exemptions and stuff. I'm sorry if you don't like being subject to the law, but if you don't like it, don't be an organization of that caliber. Because I think that's really where the clash tends to come in. Is that?
But okay, maybe maybe or maybe it's something that I just always assume. But don't you have to file claims and paperwork in order to establish yourself as a religious entity and to fall under the protections that you already have, like being tax exempt anyway?
I believe so.
So what's in the extra paper to say no? I don't want to provide.
Maybe they just find the idea offensive. I don't know. I'm not deep enough in those types of organizations to know.
It's like they're not telling you no. You can't say no to this. We just need you to just put it on board. Like, are you embarrassed that you're saying no? What? I wouldn't be embarrassed. If I'm a religious organization, I don't believe in contraceptive. Why would I be embarrassed to follow that? I don't know. I'm speculating here because it confuses the fuck out of me. Okay, whatever.
This session's guys weird, and I'm really sorry for the struggle out there for you religious people. I didn't realize how hard you had it in America.
Fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my god, I'm sorry, you guys are fucking crybabies. You have it a lot easier than you think you do. I mean, the fact that you guys have organizations that just get to be tax exempt because, to me, is a fucking crime. But we let it go, and there you have it. You get to be exempt from stuff like this if you just say I don't like it. Like, come on, you guys are not big. I say you guys. I shouldn't even say that because I don't know how many religious people feel that persecuted. I feel like it's mostly people like Sessions.
Yeah, the truth is, it's not most religious people. It's fanatics like him and their base who have this weird warped sense of what, like, religion is or what it should be or how people should practice it or whatever. And this is why we have the problems that we have with religion in this country, because people with these extreme fucking like ideals scaring everybody. They're scaring other religious people.
And no, you obviously have the power because you were able to make this fucking task force. Like, nobody stopped you.
And that's the thing. We elect these type of people to do these things. What is wrong with us?
I mean, what's the alternative? You wouldn't elect like a dirty atheist, so what are you supposed to do?
Somebody who's sensible, at least. I mean, being religious doesn't mean that you don't have no goddamn sense. You can make that argument if you're talking about, like, is religion something that you should be in? Sure, that's a separate argument. But as far as governing, that don't put you in a position where you don't know how to govern. Let's be honest.
Sure.
Like, everybody has a sense of right and wrong beyond religion. And you can do that. You can actually do that. It happens sometimes. Again, see Barack Obama.
What about him? What about
No,
him?
I mean, he would be that person. Like, even though he's a Christian, he didn't have an issue of going with right. Clearly, he didn't have an issue of doing things that are right and wrong because this mandate was in his fucking bill.
I feel like
all he asked for you was just to fill out, to check yes or no. God damn it. Write a paragraph saying why you don't like this. It ain't that hard. Like,
hashtag we're Catholic. Done. So, I don't know how strenuous that thing is, but I don't know. It is odd, and personally, I feel more persecuted by the religious powers in this country that be. I mean, again, a lot of the shit we have to deal with is because of them and their power in this country. There's a reason it took so long to do anything about gay marriage. Because it's not the gay people with power. It's the religious people who can stop you from doing that stuff. Impeding on your ability to pursue happiness and stuff like that. I don't know that many atheists can do stuff on that level in this country. I can't think of anything that they can do like that, but there's a reason abortion in general is such a legal battle right now.
Yeah.
Again, the fact that you guys can hold stuff up like that and do stuff like this ought to show that religion is just fine as far as powers and liberties and all that shit goes. You're on firm footing. You can chill. Mr. Sessions, you can go back to making your cookies. God, I want to eat those.
Yeah, I haven't eaten a keeper cookie since he's been in office. Probably won't until he's out.
He's so adorable.
Go back to what you're good at. God damn it.
I mean, I can't eat it, but
you can.
I won't.
See, I can make that comment. You can't.
I shall not.
You choose not to because you have no willpower.
I'm recovering. I mean, that's true, but you'd have to say it like that. Could have sugar-coated it a little bit, make it taste a little better. Damn sugar.
See, this is what I think. Anyway, yeah. So we've ran through all the articles. Yay! Yay for us. I'm sure if I go to CNN right now and look, I'll probably scream because it always happens when I do it before we end the show.
I like to think that Sessions Task Force is going to be like, it's not just a name, like they're a bunch of soldiers or some shit that just like break into buildings every time something funny goes on with religion. Like if a nun's like, I don't want to buy these condoms, they're just going to like jump through the fucking windows with their assault rifles pointed at everybody. I don't know. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. Wow, see, breaking news. Founder of Defense Distributed says he wants to review temporary restraining order issued by a federal judge. Website halts 3D gun plan downloads. Like, no, you can't do that. We ain't gonna let you. And now the White House says that 3D guns are illegal. See, always something.
The White House said that?
Yeah.
The same White House that said it was okay?
Yeah. Well, they gotta like show their opposition, and then once it's out, like, well, he said it was bad.
Trump is so weird.
He is.
Just this little clip of him talking, like it's muted, but like just his body language, like just so weird. He's a weird little guy.
Oh, gee, Trump could raise tariffs on $200 billion in Chinese goods. Jesus. See, this is why I shouldn't go to CNN. Fuck.
Wasn't he threatening to shut down the government over that fucking wall again?
Yeah, he did that too. Yeah.
You know what's gonna kill me? Is we're gonna end up giving him this fucking wall. Watch, by 2019, we're gonna have this wall at least started. Like a fair amount of this wall is gonna be done by the end of 2019. Oh my god.
I'm done. It's done. Jeez.
This wall though. It's gonna be a big, beautiful, great wall. Tremendous. This guy is like fourth grade diction here, but
oh, this is a weird story that I see too. 10-year-old named Clark Kent beat a record that Michael Phelps held for 23 years. Dude. Interesting headline.
That's what you get from that hate, asshole. All that Superman garbage you were spewing this time.
If you're a super being, of course you're gonna beat that record. Fucking, you got the power of the sun. Nothing can touch you, and you're still a bitch.
I didn't even know it. I've never met anybody that actually had the last name Kent before, so I'm a little surprised.
Me neither. That's why it's weird that his family decided to call him Clark Kent. They set that boy up for that.
He better break those records. He has a legacy to live up to. God damn it.
God, he's gonna go swimming with the S on his chest. It's not gonna be a shirt. It's a tattoo. Watch.
I feel like that's okay. I feel like if anybody deserves to have a
That's what
tattoo.
they've destined him to do in his life, to get the fucking S tattooed on his chest. That's gonna be how he gets the ladies. He's gonna walk into parties and
get a couple of like weird little sexual things, like
mm-hmm.
you know why they call me the Man of Steel, huh?
Oh God, Superman sucks. Shout out to my boy Amin, who thinks that's his favorite character. Unfortunately, he's blinded. Batman for life.
He needs to get on that Squirrel Girl train.
Yeah, Squirrel Girl is more. It has more depth than Superman. Anything has more depth than Superman. God damn it.
All right, hating aside.
Yeah. So that's gonna do it for this episode. By the way, we didn't talk wrestling. I'm surprised. Must not be anything going on SmackDown.
I didn't have it up. I'm sure Joe was doing some awesome shit.
Yeah, Joe probably murdered somebody, and Shinsuke probably made a fool out of someone else, and all that. But
good old
yeah,
SmackDown.
But yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for watching, listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back next week, hopefully not with so many stories. I'm tired now. Jeez, I'm gonna go to bed. It's early.
That's a dumb thing to hope.
Yeah, I know. To hope that nothing happens.
What is your problem, man?
I mean, I would like to have a sedated week where we could pick like a general topic and just go on that. That would be nice. I would like it to not be so much to discuss every time.
I mean, you can always just pick a topic.
Yeah, but it was.
We have the same rights religious people have.
I know, I understand, but I feel like I'm being. We need a news task force to save us from the news cycle and to keep us from the news stories that are oppressing us. Please.
Talk about it whatever we want, man. We have some of the same rights the religious do. I feel like I keep saying like we because I just keep implicitly dragging you under the sinner umbrella. I'm the sinner, guys. Like, I don't mean to keep saying we and just indoctrinate Black in the ways of the wicked.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like I'm stopping you, so.
I'm just sure it's gonna like come up in your work day or something randomly. I heard you were a goddamn sinner.
I'm like, well, yeah, so are you, I'm sure.
But all right.
All right, we're out of here. Hopefully, we'll be back with more insane mess for you guys next week. So take care. Have a good one. Oh, just really quick, did you have anything you wanted to suggest other than not looking like Jeff Hardy right now?
I've got a book for you guys. It's called the Bible. Peace.
Okay, we're gonna leave on that. Oh, God. You're a jerk. Anyway, we'll see you next time on the Reason Reborn. Peace.